you, Yash. First of all, I should thank you, the organizers, for inviting me. I just had to be present my slide. I think share screen is enabled. Okay.
Right, you're visible.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, this is the today's topic basically for the discussions where we are discussing the current scenario and what are the issues or problems in context of the sustainable palm oil demand in India. But what I want to say in the initial few slides, we need to be talk about the importance of India also, basically why we are discussing India when we are discussing palm oil, when we are discussing edible oil, then we have to be discuss India. So first few slide about the importance of India, then the real topic will be there, we will discuss. So I will continue with, you can see this slide basically, this is showing the consumption of the palm oil globally. What we have present status around 70, 90 or 80 million metric tons consumer palm oil is available there. Country-wise description is there. You can see after Indonesia, Indonesia is the main producing country, but as well as the consuming country also. But after Indonesia, India as a country, basically who consume around 13% of the palm oil available globally. So this is one of the indicator where we discussing the India, the major importer. Second, you can see the all over the palm oil, around 50% of the palm oil being used in the food purposes, in the different type of food or the supply or the ready-made food also. But globally is the 50%, but in the case of India, we consume more than 70% of the palm oil what we import in the food purposes. So it shows the significant impact of the palm oil in context of India. This slide, you can show the figures basically where we are in terms of the edible oil requirement as a country. We use many edible oils. Palm oil is one of this, but these figures can show in the last 10 years, basically from 2010 to 2020, the increase of the demand of is there in edible oil in India, but we see the palm oil figures are remain same or decreasing in terms of the percentage, the market share, where in the 2008 or 19, we have the 45% of the total percentage in terms of the palm oil in the edible oil requirement of the India. And now in the 2019 or 20 is around 40% now, 41% basically. So what I want to be say basically, where the demand is increasing in terms of the edible oil in India, but the percentage wise, the ratio of the palm oil import is not as increasing as the demand is increasing in terms of the edible oil in India. And this is most important point where the India supposed to be the preferable country for the palm oil is not due to the only cheap oil. As such, the palm oil, as the Tanushri already mentioned, is not cheap oil. But I'm talking about the context of the other edible oils available, the pricing of the other edible oils available, basically. We will discuss further this agenda in the further slides. So you can see here the India vegetable oil import, we are totally depend on the other countries to fulfill our edible oil requirements. And now is currently around 70% of the requirement come through the different countries, whatever in the palm oil from Malaysia or Indonesia, or for the sunflower oil, for the soybean from the Argentina or Brazil. But as a country, we are dependent for the edible oil requirement to fulfill the requirement of our consumers or the populations here. So this show basically why we are discussing India here. The largest importer of palm oil, the second largest in the world basically is a consumer. And we around 70% now basically we are imported from the other countries, our requirements. So this is the context what we need to be discussed here, the why India we are discussing. So when we discuss with the palm oil, it's about the sustainable palm oil. In the few slides, I was just trying to be highlight the major issues when we talk about the sustainable palm oil. What are the issues? These are the three major issues based on, as an organization, Solidarity, we are working in the different contexts. So these are the major issues seems where the palm oil directly linked with the deforestations, directly linked with the bad health, directly linked in the consumer market. This is not good also. These are the three pillars, basically the sustainability agenda in terms of Indian conditions we need to be addressed. We are aware basically the peoples, the experts, the stakeholders, the businesses, the countries involved in the palm oil trade also, they are very well involved with the different issues and how much level these are the related issues or not. But as a stakeholders forum, we need to be address this agenda. These are the points basically where we need to be talk about. one side we are talking about the unsustainability of the palm oil. The another side is there, the palm oil is the need. Basically globally we can see the figures in this slide, whereby last figure 2017 or 18 our requirement was around 210 million metric ton edible oil requirement. So if we want to be fulfilled only this requirement without palm oil, this is not going to be solve the agenda. We do not have the sufficient land available where the palm oil can give the significant productivity from the per acreage of land, where if you want to be replace the palm oil with any edible oil available now, it's required at least the 6 times, 10 times, 12 times more land. And we all are aware the land is not there to be grow more different type of crops in the huge region. So palm oil is the solution. Basically, we are talking about the last discussions since 1 or 2 decades, basically going on the issues on the palm oil. But I think now we need to be discuss the use, the importance of palm oil basically. So this is a real aspect we need to be discussed when we are going to be discuss the Indian scenario. RSP is one of the sustainability norms. We are already aware by support from the many countries or the European countries. This is already fulfilled the demand from the Europe side. We are aware this sustainable palm oil is very much available in the market in the Europe. So this is one of the context basically when we are discussing to be promote the sustainability of the sustainable palm oil in the Asia or India and say, then we have to be compare the what is the status of the other countries. Maybe in the further discussions we can discuss the how much the sustainable palm oil consume in the country like Indonesia as a major producer also. But now we are discussing the Indian case. I think this is the topic. So basically, you can see these are the some issues. You can say this issues, problems, or the perceptions. Basically, this is true. I'm not talking about the palm oil is the cheap, but this is the context where we are talking about the Indian market, where the different oils are available. Palm oil considers as a cheap oil compared to the other edible oils available. And the major issue, the palm oil is not selling in the market as a brand. The retailers or the big retailers or the supermarket do not have the separate brand on the palm oil. Many of the states, India is a huge country. I do not say that every part of the country is not available with the branded palm oil, but the few markets could be available this branded palm oil. Otherwise, this is selling as a loose palm oil in the different part of the India, in the markets and the other products. So this is the issue we need to be discussed, where the Indians, the population in India, they're not aware about the brands of the palm oil. They are taking the palm oil in the different sense through different edible oil segments, they market when they purchase some ready-made food or so, but they're not as ask the shopkeepers or the market they need the palm oil or so. They ask for the sunflower oil, they ask for the certain part of India, MP or so, the sunflower or soybean oils, the safflower oil, but unfortunately, this is not the case for the palm oil. So this is important when we are talk about the sustainable palm oil. Eventually, we need to be first talk about the palm oil in market of the India. I just need to be list out what are the major challenges basically when we are going to be discuss the sustainable palm oil. Challenges are there based on our previous working with the different stakeholders here. One is the major issue, basically palm oil is not selling in the market as a brand item. People are not aware of basically the goodness of this palm oil. People are even they are aware about the bad healthy characters also in the market. Basically, this is the challenge when we are talk about the sustainable palm oil or the palm oil can say. Then unfortunately, the supply chain is not transparent as should be. Many of the people, so the suppliers or stakeholders in the chain, basically, there's the lack of the traceability segment where the consumers can be aware from where they are getting the palm oil. If it's about the sustainable palm oil, the traceability is one of the elements. So this is lacking for now in India, but it can be worked out. Pricing, I already discussed. Health agenda is more important. Basically, we need to be take care of this agenda where the edible oils, other edible oils are in the market based on their different characters. So palm oil is in the Indian market based on the palm oil only as a cheap oil available compared to other edible oils. So this is one of the area we need to be work on. So these are the challenges basically. But since last 6-7 years, we are along with the many stakeholders trying to be uplift the sustainability agenda. We work with the many stakeholders. One of the solvent extraction associations is a well-known association from India, from the group of the refiners, processors linked with the palm oil and the importers. So we jointly try to be mobilize the agenda, sustainable palm oil agenda, and together with Solvent Extraction Association of India, now this year IPOS framework is there. Basically, this is the Indian framework for the sustainable palm oil, where we are along with the different stakeholders trying to be promote the sustainable palm oil issues agenda in the Indian markets. So what is the requirement to the motivation is required through these type of framework also. We will discuss basically why we develop the IPOs. Every country, every region should have their own priorities. Certain global standards are available, certain country specific standards are available. But when we talk about the particular countries, they have to their own principle to identify what are the sustainability in their context, what are the real challenges in their practical situation about the community, about the food security agenda, and whatever the natural resources they have. So this is the philosophy behind this. The India developed its own framework for the sustainable palm oil, where the all government institutions are involved, solvent extraction association like the umbrella bodies there for developing these standards. So this somehow we have the different principles or the criteria within this framework. On the similar lines, Malaysia also have the MSPO, Indonesia also have the ISPO, the national sustainability standards are there. So India as a consuming country also developed, but many of the people are already aware we are growing palm oil very well in an Indian scenario. We already initiated the different programs. And might be the few days ago, all of you are aware our PM announced the special focus when we are going to be promote the palm oil plantation in India to fulfill the self-dependency in terms of the edible oil crops. So these are the differentiators. I'm talking about the IPOs, but this is already linked with the IPOs, MSPO, and the ISPO also. When we talk about the national frameworks, IPOs can differentiate. This is one of the major issue in terms of the premiums requirement. When we talk about the additional sustainability or the certification, some premium was expecting from the different agencies also. In this case, if we have the national framework like IPOS, it can be the economical, and this is fulfilling our need, the sustainability criteria we have to be follow in the palm oil plantation in India, even in the other edible crops. This IPOS already has the different platform available in India, along with the ACA and other business stakeholders. Even IPOS and MSPO and the ISPO already recognize each other's. We have the agreement in place between the India, Malaysia, India, Indonesia to support each other national sustainability standards. So I see somehow the things are moving on. When we discuss the issues in the earlier slide, where we are going on the solution to moving on. We are moving on the progress. Just this some indicative pictures basically. ACA also have their own council, IPOS council, where we discuss only about the sustainable palm oil agenda. So you can see the seriousness of the Indian stakeholders when we talk about the sustainable palm oil. Efforts are going on. These separate councils regularly meet with different stakeholders, their members, and discuss on the sustainability issues agenda. Not only the production side, but only import side also. We are discussing at the government level with the different countries like Malaysia and Indonesia, how we are going to be motivate the further demand of the sustainable palm oil in India. So these are the one of the picture basically. Godrej Agrovet is a very well aware plantation company in India. Basically, they are the first certified producer group of the IPOs. So you can imagine basically as India, when we talk about the sustainable palm oil in India, this is going on where the company like Godrej is already certified under the certification schemes of the sustainable palm oil in India. Already IPOS, Malaysia agreement, then IPOS with the Indonesia agreement is there. So things are moving on, we are progressing. So this was the background why I discussed. These are the key recommendations, basically, what we need to be discussed here. We really want to be promote palm oil as a palm oil I can be agree, all can be agreed. We are talking about the sustainable palm oil, but we really need in the Indian market, first we need to be repute the palm oil. We need to be talk about the agenda like smallholders, farmers, basically the peoples in India, the consumers in India should be aware about, we are talking about the smallholders growing the palm oil plantation in Malaysia, Indonesia, and the smallholders are the same, like in Malaysia and Indonesia or every country, and say, or the India also, the issues and agenda are same. The palm oil is the major livelihood options for the many smallholders in Malaysia and India, Indonesia. So this need to be higher. Another important thing is the government alignment. Basically, these are the major issues we are discussing. The sustainability is not going to be achieved through the voluntary initiatives only. These should have some mandatory guidelines. The government initiatives need to be aligned with these all discussions. The long-term impact will be there. And one of the important tasks is the traceability on the both level. On the farmers level, basically where the palm oil we are growing from start with, and all the supply chains, we should have the traceability elements. We should have some alignment with between the supply chains, where the farmers, where the consumers or the different stakeholders should be rely the how this palm oil going to be produced, what are the parameters they following in terms of the sustainability. So this traceability elements is the most important things we want to be proposed or recommended when we are going to be try to increase the sustainable palm oil in India. We need to be address this agenda as much as possible. So this was a small briefing from my side. I will be open to for further discussions. Other experts are there to be discussed further. Thank you very much.